Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from passionate Reds, only on All for United.
Good evening, everybody. I say good evening after what we've just witnessed. It's probably not a good one, is it? But we'll try as best. We'll see how long this one goes tonight. But welcome back to All for United as we have a reaction to what we've just witnessed. I'm sure the guys are going to help me use every expletive in the dictionary to explain what we've just seen. It's going to be a tough one, but I'm sure you guys have got plenty to talk about and are going to help me through it. So just before we start, I just want to obviously give my condolences as well to Ronaldo and his family. I'm sure the rest of the panel want to do the same as well. So that was it was a nice touch, to be fair, from the Liverpool fans on the 7th minute. I thought that was a really good touch from them. But yeah, so straight into it. I think initial formation reaction, Stu. I mean, looking at that from when the game's an hour into before kick-off and looking at the formation, and I'm just, I was pulling my hair out, and I thought, here we go. But what are you thinking from that, Stu? Looking at that initial formation, are you thinking the same, or were you can't have been buoyant about that? Surely not.
Look, I put in the group chat it'd be suicide to play three at the back, and but you did, believe it or not, that isn't rocket science. It's not difficult to understand. It would be suicide to play three at the back when you've got a front three that Liverpool possess. In many ways, we spoke about a formation yesterday, and I advocated a 4-3-3, which I still would have gone with. I still would have gone with Mata, and I still would have dropped Pogba and put Bruno in the eighth. But on reflection, when you look at the game, the best way to stop Liverpool is a standard 4-4-2, because all they do, they attack brilliantly down the wings, and we know all this anyway. It's nothing new to us. They attack brilliantly down the wings. And if you can stop the likes of Robertson, you can stop the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold and make them play through the middle. Okay, when you've actually got a midfield, by the way, let's just forget what we did and how we play. When you've got a midfield in there, it makes it a lot more difficult for them to penetrate you. But we didn't do that. We went with unbelievably three at the back. And when you've got a Matic, a Pogba, and a Fernandes as your middle three, and maybe a Alanga and a Rashford, it was always going to be a disaster. It was just never going to work. There's no chemistry. There's no balance. And when you take on a team that's scored 3 goals for fun against City a couple of days ago, you're always going to be up against it. It's like it was never going to be a fair fight anyway. It was never going to get past round 3 in boxing terminology. It just wasn't. But instead of actually doing something about it and trying to protect something, when you hand a team like Liverpool the initiative, you're just going to get fly swatted, and unfortunately that's what we did. And of course, I was on Twitter, I was on the group chat, and the usual rhetoric: Maguire was to blame, blah 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 blah, fucking blah. I'm bored of it. I'm tired of listening to the same old bollocks all the time. Dalot was woefully out of position for the first 2 goals. He got caught for the second, as ball watching again, because he didn't know exactly where Salah was. And when you've got Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold in about 12 yards of space, and Salah, by the way, didn't need to cross it. Salah had enough time and space to have a strike on his own. But of course, people just see it. It's Maguire's fault. And then apparently he gets the blame for Mane's goal as well. Let me just tell you something about the basic art of defending, okay? Stop the fucking cross. Stop the cross. You stop the cross, okay? They don't get a goal scoring chance. It's nobody's fault. Stop the fucking cross. But we don't. I mean,
Jacob's put here, Stu. I know the fact that they are brilliant, a brilliant team, and but the formation I thought did matter. I mean, into that second half, I felt like we were sort of getting some sort of control and starting to show a little bit of something. Obviously, the third goal killed us, but that formation in that initial first half was all over the place, wasn't it?
You've got to have personnel. You have to have personnel to play 3 at the back. You've got to have the right type of personnel to play 3 at the back, and we don't. We don't possess that in our squad to play 3 at the back. So it was never going to work. Yeah, that's it. That's all I've got to say.
No. Thanks, Stu. Mr. Tom, what do you think? Obviously overall reactions, but I mean that initial formation, that was just. I mean, I personally thought it was horrendous. We were just setting ourselves up for a massive fall, as Stu said. It would expose us on wide on both sides. But what do you reckon?
It was more to do with the tactics. You could do whatever formation. You want to do a high press because that's what happened. You wanted to do a high press with players that don't have the pace to recover. That's why people are blaming Maguire. But to me, that's the tactics. Yeah, that's straight tactics. You want to, press out the high. Why are you going to do that? Your defenders ain't quick enough. That don't make no sense. And that's tactics. That's straight tactics there. Do you know what I mean? For me, I talk on a lot of people on Twitter space, and I've said, Ralph management is not, he's not going to be, you lot are not going to be impressed. And because I understand how he used to play and how he likes to play. We ain't got the players to play the way he wants to play. So just shore it up, keep it safe, keep it steady. But I don't know, man. It's just that defending there, the way the tactics, like I said, people can blame Maguire, but the tactics, why is he that high up on the pitch anyway? He shouldn't be there. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't be. It's just there was so much first half. I think it was like early, you had how they got their goal from playing from the defender. Very simple. Right from the keeper, playing at the back, straight up, boom, goal. Started off second half, it was like a training game for them. When they felt a little bit of pressure, when Sancho was, starting to be a bright spot, boom, back of the net. That's it. These are like basic errors, but I don't know, the people just, even like Pogba, to me, I don't think he was injured. He just said, after that first goal, fuck this, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and do you think that's the last I didn't want to touch on Pogba too much because I don't think any of us want to talk about Pogba in great detail, but do you think that's obviously the last we've seen of him, haven't we, in a Man United shirt?
I'd be very surprised if you see him again, man. Very surprised. Honestly, it's not, normally you're seriously injured, you know what I mean? You go down the tunnel, he went and sat on the bench. I think after that first goal, he just knew. He was like, no.
He said too much, and he said the season's dead, and then obviously Saturday happened, and I think he's just gone like what you said. No, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to take part in that. It's I wasn't when he was getting booed. I didn't think he deserved that on Saturday, but now he's just sort of said F you all really, and it's. I can't say anything to defend him really now after that.
Natalie, do you want to carry on? What was your initial reactions with, obviously formation, but just the overall performance? I think we all came into this with a large amount of expectation, did we, with the result and what we thought was going to happen, and it pretty much kind of went that way, didn't it?
Yeah,
but I think the formation didn't help that expectation.
Probably not, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, I get it. Like, I just don't. I can see why he played the way he did, because I think that if he went the 4-4-2, like Stu said before, which I actually saw something that said he was going to go 4-4-2. I think like 20 minutes before they were like saying, "Oh, this is leaked that he's 4-4-2," and I thought, yeah, okay. But then if he had gone 4-4-2, I don't even think we can really, like you say, stop the cross, do this kind of thing, up and down fullback. I don't think that would have happened either. So I think we might have even got overrunning midfield, and the same thing would have happened. I just think they're just not bothered anymore. I know it's horrible, but that's what we saw. The first goal, the third goal, like you say, when we started to then, set, 2-0 for quite a while. But then the minute that they felt that bit of pressure, bang, and just turn it on and bang 3-4, finish. And it's just, we made it so easy. We played into their hands, and, what can you do? They're just waiting for everyone to leave. That's it. They're just waiting to leave. And it's horrible to see, but that's it. It's a clean slate for the new manager.
It's a pretty low point, isn't it? I think just generally as United fans, I don't think I've personally felt this way for a long time. I know, Stu, you've had moments probably in your past where you've seen United at lower points, but for me personally, and I'm sure for the most of the panel, it's a pretty first time low point for us all. Just on your reaction to the formation, I think generally overall Ranić's kind of attitude to it, really. Do you feel like there was a bit of naivety from him, and do you think a bit of an experience with the level of competition that he's up against and the team that he's dealing with? Do you think he was naive with his formation choice?
The problem is that Rangnick, when he became United's interim manager, no player respected him. So no one would believe in his idea, no one would believe in his tactics, no one would believe in his setups, and this is what the biggest issue is with the current crop of Manchester United players. None of them are disciplined enough to listen to a formation, to stay in a setup. It's like, for example, the first goal today. Exactly carbon copy of Liverpool's first goal at Old Trafford. Dalot went diving in for the ball, Maguire stepped up, and we're chasing 3 men with Jones in the middle of the pitch. Carbon copy of the first goal we conceded at Old Trafford when we lost 5-0. Now, as a professionals, how can you not learn from that? This is what I can't understand, is that you haven't got the pace against these players. Just stay rooted, stay in your position, stay compact, stay tight. And I just believe with the stuff that he's come out and said, he knows that these players are a massive, massive issue to Manchester United. For him to turn around and say they don't need 2-3 years, they need 2-3 transfer windows to get the personnel in order to fit the new system that Erik ten Hag will play. Because he knows they're just not good enough. They're just not up for the challenge. Now, I think I said it about a week ago. I said, just feel so disconnected towards this team. And that first half just made me just feel so disheartened to actually the attitude and the effort in which they put in. Second half, for the first 15 minutes, I thought, oh, do you know what? Actually, you see a little bit of bite, a bit more of a better work ethic. But then what happens? A moment of lapse again. Moment of lapse again, caused by our own doing. Lindelof playing a straight pass to Elanga when he's got 2 men behind him. It's just, again, it just questions the professionalism of these players. Now, when the formation was set out and we was all discussing beforehand whether it be 3-5-2, 5-2-3, will he go 4-3-3? Now, if Manchester United went into that game thinking we can match Liverpool toe-to-toe, that was wrong. That is just wrong. Because that's, like you said, the naivety there, thinking that we can challenge these players 1-for-1. It would never, ever going to happen. But Stu mentioned it earlier, is that we don't have the personnel for this setup. That is the biggest thing. We do not have the personnel for this setup. And that's what's cost us today, is that these players are just not up for the challenge. And even though they're a golfing class, technically, these Liverpool players, mentally, they're just a golfing class as well. They all sing from the same hymn sheet. They all know how to play together. They all want to work for one another. And you just look at Manchester United, and I said it before, we just look like a lost bunch. Just look like headless chickens. That's what we look like. We just look like we lack ideas. We lack even trust in each other, the players. Not one of them, except for when Hannibal come on, actually thought, do you know what? I'm just going to get stuck in. I can't. Do you know what? I can't stand to bear hearing them do Ole 5-6 times every time they make a pass.
And do you think that's because he's been brought up in the youth system, hasn't he? And used to playing Liverpool at the youth ranks as well. So that the animosity he feels against Liverpool is there, isn't it? In his core, isn't it? Because
end of the day, if that shirt is too heavy for you, don't put it on. That's my motto. It's always been my motto. If that shirt's too heavy for you, you don't deserve to put it on. He knows what it means. He's a young academy graduate that's come through the ranks, and he knows what it means to be a Manchester United player. He knows what it means to face your arch rivals, Liverpool. None of them out there, probably bar Rashford and Lingard, they're the only ones that actually know what this actually means to the club. And that's what's the saddening thing about where we are as a club right now. And we was rock bottom, like I said. We didn't have much expectations going into this game. Didn't think that we'd probably a bit of optimism and a bit of hope that we could actually maybe get something. Obviously, sad news to hear about Cristiano Ronaldo, thoughts with him and his family. I mean, that didn't help. Like, obviously, missing such a key figure that's won our last 6 points. So, I don't know. It was just a sort of like a routine game for Liverpool, I'd say, and it's just another reality check just how bad Manchester United are at the moment.
No, I agree. I mean, Cal, I'm sorry to keep you waiting for so long. Nice for you to join. What are your views on it? And does this kind of spell how much of a task that Ten Hag's got as well? Was there anything positive that you can take from that tonight, or is it all just doom and gloom? What's your thoughts?
Can I take anything positive? Yeah, the fucking final whistle. That was the only positive thing from tonight. Genuinely, every single one of you before me has been very kind about them tonight. They are a shambles, an absolute shambles, every single one of them. Not a single one of them should ever put that shirt on again. Not a single one of them. We were 2-0 down after, 21 minutes, and they were walking. They weren't even trying to put a challenge in. Hannibal should be our new captain. And do you know what, Stu? You said before, I'm going to shout at you a little bit here, mate. You said you're sick about seeing Maguire getting it. Well, do you know what, mate? He fucking deserved it tonight. Again, like he's constantly involved in all the goals. Below, constantly out of position all the time. Wan-Bissaka constantly having to recover positions all the time. Matic, slow. Pogba pretending he's injured. Rashford, crap again. Honestly, the whole team don't deserve to be anywhere near this football club. That was a disgrace. The lot of them should be ashamed to be anywhere near this football club. They genuinely should be. This is not the Manchester United that we all fell in love with. How these players can get paid this amount of money and come out and say they care. Maguire completely dropped Hannibal in it with that piss poor pass. Poor pass. Hannibal then had to completely recover to try and keep the ball. Lost the ball. One pass split the entire defence open. Boom. 4-0. And I can guarantee, because he's been constantly saying it after all his interviews this year, he won't take any accountability. He'll probably be in the dressing room now shouting at Hannibal, pretending it was all his fault. The lot of them, every single one of them. At the start of the season, it was anger, right? It was angry. We were like, what's happened to this team? Now it's just sad. It's upsetting. They've not got an ounce of soul in them. They're a disgrace. They should never, ever play for Man United again. Ten Hag this summer has got a million times bigger job than anything. Honestly, if I was Ten Hag and I watched that tonight, 15 of them would be out the door. The lot of them deserve to not be there. I'm fucking sick of it every game. How you can play our arch rivals, how you can play the team you hate the most and stand there on the field in the middle of the Anfield pitch and have the audacity to walk. Honestly, not a single one of them shown fight until the 86th minute. Hannibal Mejbri, one of the biggest talents in our academy, came on and made his debut tonight. He is now associated with that bag of shit on the field. The fucking lot of them. Every single one of those players on the pitch. Rangnick got it wrong. Well, to be fair, I don't even know if he got it wrong because he could have picked the Globetrotters of football. But if they can't be asked, you can have all the talent in the world. But if you can't teach effort, you can't teach desire, you can't teach pride, you can't teach doing that to the Stretford end at the end of the game. You can't teach smirking as you pretend to come off injured. You can't teach any of that. The frigging lot of them can piss off. All of them. I've never been so angry and upset watching a Manchester United team. But honestly, I wouldn't be sad if any of them got sold.
But this is where we've been. This is where we've been for ages, you know. I just think it's over pampered, you know, love, mollycoddled. You know, like you say, you can't teach it, but that's where it thrives in this kind of environment. They're allowed to get away with it, like you say, no accountability. So for me, I just think, well, we know it's going to happen. I don't know. You know, I don't know.
Do you know what?
I mean, Stu, do you want to...
Everyone in the country tonight... Sorry, everyone in the country tonight knew United would get battered. Everybody said United would get battered tonight. And every time somebody says that, or a lot of people have that sort of consensus of opinion that that's going to happen, sometimes it's a surprise. Sometimes it's like a little inkling that United, any team that is. Like, I don't know, you could put like West Ham, Barcelona. You'd think Barcelona would batter West Ham. But it's about putting the effort in. And United were defeated before they even walked out the tunnel tonight.
No belief.
There's no belief, there's no pride, there's no desire to win the ball. Honestly, Hannibal probably should have been sent off when he came on. And do you know what? I felt proud. I felt proud of an academy player coming on and putting in a tackle, going in hard and hitting a player. Stu, you go on all about it all the time, mate. Bit of desire on the pitch to put a frigging tackle in. Do you know what I mean? You don't teach that. That comes from a young lad playing for the academy, playing the likes of Liverpool and all that. Do you know what? There's just no accountability. There's no leadership. And that stems from the captain. Like,
the thing is, Carl, and you're all right, mate. But look, I mean, I've been talking about this for months anyway. You know I have. I've been talking about player responsibility for absolutely months. And to be fair, I got a lot of stick about it. Oh, it's fucking coaching, it's this, it's that. And it never is. It's always about player responsibility, application, etc. The problem I've got with the Maguire bashing is that when players are out of position, Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, whoever it may be, that's where your issue is. That's where you get exposed. And this is what's happened tonight. And you're right. The ball to Mejbri wasn't great. Now, would you expect Mejbri to take it? I don't know. You know, he's just come on, made his debut, probably not. But it's then the transition period and the distance that they then have to carry the ball again until it gets back to our back line. So I take your point, but it isn't just Maguire, and I'm fed up of hearing Maguire this, Maguire that. We've got to take responsibility as a fucking team. You're right, Cal. I agree with you. We have to take responsibility of a team, and we're not doing that. We just aren't doing that. It winds me up. I mean, I had a pop at somebody on our fucking group chat because I was fucking fed up with it. You know, Maguire was at fault for the first goal because he let him run by him. Absolute horse shit. Dalot was miles out of fucking position. And everyone knows, right, that fucking Salah could have had a shot and probably scored himself anyway. He needs to fucking pass it. This is the problem. But tonight, we have showed no intensity. We have showed no desire. And everything I've been speaking about for months, absolutely months I've been speaking about this. And I'll keep going on about it until it does. And you're absolutely right, Cal, about Mejbri. He came in and he put his foot through somebody, which is what players should have been doing. You're not going to get Fernandes to do it. Pogba won't do it. You know, Wan-Bissaka doesn't do it anymore.
He might have actually injured himself if he'd have done it.
Yeah, Dalot doesn't do it. Maguire's big. He should be smashing fucking Mane to pieces. This is what should be happening. The only two players that came off that pitch with any fucking credit today was Rashford and Sancho. Those are the only two players, in my opinion, that came off with any credit.
And the thing is, Stu, I don't think Rashford was still even that great, to be honest. But no,
it wasn't great, but
necessarily nobody was really. But I know what you mean.
Yeah, at least he had a go, didn't he? He did. You know, for the first time in a while, he had a go, and that's just my big thing.
Hold his head high again, though. You know, at least he was flying forward and trying to make something happen. You're right with the like of Rashford, but again, it's the same culprits again. I think, and ultimately, I think it's become a point now in the season where you watch these players and you see them, and you can tell they just want the season over. And you know, that's the thing that bothers me the most. I don't care about losing games. You know, win, lose, but it's part of football. I can never, ever accept people not running for the ball or showing a bit of effort. And I'll never accept that. And the thing is, what bothers me even more is these players play for Manchester United. We can go on about the whole thing about the Glazers and stuff, but tonight, ultimately, those players didn't care. They did not care. They didn't put the effort in. They didn't show any fight for the shirt against the biggest rivals we have in English football. And they did not care. And I don't care what anyone says. They didn't put any effort in. They didn't show any fight for the shirt. They literally walked on that pitch and they wanted the 93rd minute to be there straight away. It's a disgrace. The lot of them should go home tonight in their lovely massive mansions, and every single one of them should hang their heads in shame.
Do you want to know what
do you want to take it, Mr. Tony? Yeah.
You know, in the 62nd minute, the possession for us was 25%. 25. It ended at 28. Do you know what? Like that. Don't like what they're saying. Desire pride for you to just basically watch the ball get passed around. That's what you want to do. You want Thiago to just run rings around you. The amount of times balls are just going through the lines. Once you see it the first couple times, exactly. Once you see it the first couple times, you know, okay, he's gonna fucking try that. Oh, I'm sorry about my language, but you get what I'm saying? You see it the first couple times, you know what to do.
Well,
like you let him do the same pass.
To touch on what you said there as well. What was sickening for me, what I saw at half time, 64% pass accuracy from professionals. The basics of football, you had a 64% pass accuracy. They had 98. 98% pass accuracy to 64%. And I've said this for weeks. If you go through some of my tweets and even in my group chats, I said, we can't do the basics properly. The basics of defending, the basics of passing, the basics of positioning. If you can't get them right, we got no hope.
It's the old setup, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest now. You take Sancho out of our team, you stick him in that Liverpool team. Sancho has a good game today, doesn't he? And that's the difference. You've got a system, you've got a setup, and that's a problem. The whole thing doesn't work. These players are not playing together. They're not gelling together. They're not a team. The whole thing's broken. Callum's right. You know, the whole thing from the attitude that the players have to the morale they have, everything, the heart, it's just not there.
This is the fourth manager as well. This is the fourth manager that has happened to, and that's where the sickening thing is. This is the fourth.
Yeah, sorry, Seth, go on.
That's right. No, go on, Callum.
All I was gonna say was ultimately, I think it genuinely does stem down to one thing, and it does go to the top. When you see an ownership and a structure at a club that doesn't care about the footballing side of the operations, when players are going to see that, I'm not giving them any sort of defence here, but when you have a playing staff that see that from the very top that they don't care, shit rolls downhill, it filters down, and the players eventually go, well, we don't care either. And the thing that bothers me the most about that is the players are the one lot who are in front of the fans every week who should be like, you know what, we understand your pain, we're sorry. But we'll get an interview from some of these players going, oh, we just don't know what went wrong. No, honestly, like
put the sorry posts out in the morning. We'll do better next time.
Yeah,
we'll make sure we put it right.
Yeah, that's what it is, though, isn't it? It's the fact that they still know they're going to go home. They're going to get, and like, listen, every players know that they're going to go home and get their millions, but it's overpaid, it's pampered. It's like what I was saying, like it does filter down. I mean, I heard the other day they're talking about doing up Old Trafford, and it's a year since the European Super League, and they made all these promises, and then they're talking about putting more debt on to do up Old Trafford. What kind of joke is that? That doesn't make sense. Adding an extra 300, maybe more, 400 million pounds onto the 500 million pounds debt they're not even paid off to even buy the football club. So you're looking at 900, over 100, 100,000 kind of £1 million debt. And then if anyone even wanted to come buy it, you have to buy it and then sort out all that debt. So no, it's just taking the money, like you say, moving it. I mean, the last interview I saw from the Glazers was from him at the Buccaneers game, talking about we can't wait to win, and for our fans, that's what they're bothered about. They're bothered about that American football, and they're just using this as a way to take the money, buy your Tom Brady, all these kind of things, and push through that kind of agenda, American football, not what goes on here. Because everyone knows they're still going to get paid, nothing's going to happen, no accountability. Ten Hag, and they'll be happy next week.
I think the thing that a lot of people need to remember as well is 12 months ago, we were sitting in second in the league. So what's happened? Because like you said before, Nat, they have been mollycoddled, and, they've had an arm around the shoulder and stuff from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And it worked. It clearly worked. But something happened over the summer that we may not know about, but something's clearly happened over at some stage where the players just went, you know what, we're not doing this anymore. And it's not right, because ultimately the people that suffer are the ones that care the most. Us lot. And the thing is, those fans who probably went to Anfield, they probably spent quite a lot of money tonight. A lot of them probably travelled from quite far. United have got a huge Irish fan base. A lot of people live down in London, all over the place. Obviously, many from Manchester, but we've got a very worldwide fan base, and a lot of those people would have travelled from quite far. It wouldn't have been a £7 train journey. Some of these people would have spent a hell of a lot of money to get there tonight, and they can't be bothered to even run for the ball. I said to my girlfriend, who was sat there watching it with me, who doesn't even like football, and I turned to her and I went, United can't make more than 3 passes. Because every time we get the ball, look at the difference between when we have the ball and Liverpool want it back, and when Liverpool have the ball and we want it back. Liverpool lost the ball, and about 4 of their players just went, and they were hounding our midfield. Then it'd get to Thiago, one pass would cut through 2 lines. It'd cut through the midfield and get between Lindelof, Jones, and Maguire, or between Maguire and Delo, or between whoever and whoever. It was the same problems constantly. You cannot teach tactics to players who don't want to execute them. These players will refuse to I can't remember the word Stu uses now, but if they won't execute it on the pitch, it's pointless teaching them anything. because they don't want him. And ultimately, you can have the best coaches, you can do all this, you can have Ten Hag come in and bring all these coaches from Ajax, but he's going to come in the summer, see the likes of De Gea not being able to distribute the ball. That's just one example. I'm not saying it was the case tonight, but that's just one example over however many games. And he's going to go, well, what am I going to do with him as our goalkeeper? He's going to say, Maguire, who's only good probably in a counter-attacking team, Ten Hag's going to want to play possession-based football, fast possession-based, quick attacking football. Maguire won't be able to do that. Lingard might be able to. Varane's not. I think Varane's played 3 games in a row once this season. Dalot's not good enough. I'm starting to think maybe Wan-Bissaka's not good enough. Sure, we've had a good 6 months out of him for the 8 years we've had him. Tellez, jury's still out on him. I personally like him a little bit, but again, jury's still a bit out. Matic is going. Pogba should never play for Manchester United again. I don't want him even near Carrington, never mind Old Trafford. Mata going. Lingard going. Rashford bang out of form. Sancho, okay, great. Bruno, had better seasons, but still being okay. Ronaldo probably won't be here in the summer because he'll see this lot and go, why the hell do I want to associate with it? I'm finishing my career. Why do I want that to be associated with me? The whole club's a mess. It's an absolute mess. You are genuinely looking this summer at 15, 16 players leaving. And honestly, if it means that happening, and we just bringing in the likes of certain players who will just play for Man United because they know how lucky they are, but we go finish fucking 12th, then so be it. Because I cannot deal with this. We're a big club. Do you know what? That only gets you so far, as we've seen over 10 years of spending 1.1 billion, but also spending 1.1 billion on servicing the Glazers' debt. At this stage, I have fallen out of love with my football club. I thought I did last season, a year ago, with the Super League. I did do, but these past 2, 3, 4, 5 games, it's just made me fall out of love with a load of players who can tweet all they like. You can have De Gea do all his interviews. You can have Maguire hold no accountability. But they do not give one single shit about any of us. And until that changes, nothing.
Let me tell you something, Carl. You're absolutely right. But here's the thing about football, and here's where common sense has to take over. And sometimes you've got to look at your tactics that your managers and your coaches are telling you. You've got to say bollocks to it because I'm in the middle of this park and I know what's going on. And then you need somebody
100%.
on that park, right, to completely reshape your team. You need somebody on there with a bit of balls to reshape your team. We do it all the fucking time. We used to do it all the time when I was playing. If it didn't work, we would have 3 players on our team tasked with looking at what was happening. You know, who was in possession the most, who was their playmaker, what they're like in attack, what they're like in defence. And we would then adjust our formation and we would adjust our tactics on field to do it. It's not rocket. Football isn't rocket science. You know, people tell me, oh, well, you know, you should be doing this, 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 and this, and this. Take a break for a minute, take a step back, drop into a 4-4-2 or drop into a 4-5-1 and halt the game. You've got to absolutely suffocate the fucking life out your opposition, even if it's for 5 minutes. That's what you need to do. And I cannot believe, and nobody can tell me that Fernandes doesn't know how to do that, or fucking Pogba doesn't know how to do that, or Matic doesn't know how to do that. You're talking about players that play football all their lives. And it's a very, very, it really is easy. You know who's the playmaker. You know where it's coming from because you're on there and you can see your head's on a swivel for 90 minutes, or it should be on a swivel for 90 minutes. And you should just be able to take the sting out of the game. We've seen it before. We've seen the likes of Roy Keane, Scholes, completely change the way the game is playing. I watched Denmark in the Euros. After 15 minutes, I can't remember who they were playing. I think it was Germany. It wasn't working. They completely changed on field. Forgot, didn't even speak to the manager, just changed it. We don't have these types of players anymore. They're gone. They don't exist.
Stu, you see what you just said? Because when I talk on Twitter Spaces to people, I tell them all the time, right? Man United's recruitment, terrible. And the reason why I'm going to say it's terrible, we don't have midfielders that make our team tick and flow. Like what you just said, the likes of Scholes, Modric, De Jong, these are sort of players, even Thiago, these mode of players right? They might not get you the GAs that the Bruno Fernandes, but they make your team move and tick. You understand? It's like we don't recruit those players at Man United. And those players, they have a certain high level of IQ where if the tactics are not working, they can organize the team and make the team play different. This is the thing we don't have, and I've been saying it for a long time at Man United. That's the problem. And I've said it about Ten Hag. Everyone's getting excited about Ten Hag, but then look at the players he's got at disposal. Do you even know how his build-up play is focused with his defenders, his centre backs, even push out like that? If you watch the game the other day, Timber came as far as like a midfielder, centre mid at the circle. That's how far he brings the ball up. And he's so aggressive winning the ball. We ain't got defenders like that.
No, we haven't.
I just want to just jump in there as well on that. I think we mentioned Thiago earlier on, and how good he was. He was brilliant. He was as much as I'm a Man United fan, it was a joy to watch at times as a midfielder. Just effortless, wasn't it? But the thing is, he's got players around him that protect him. We mentioned there about. That's what we want. Thiago was keeping the tempo going, but they had Fabinho and Henderson, even Van Dijk and Matip are all ball players. Yeah, Van Dijk and Matip are defensive players, but our defensive unit, none of them wanted the ball. De Gea was getting
none
the ball.
None of them are competent on the ball. None of them are competent on the ball. None of them
didn't want it, did they? Just to kind of change the topic very, very slightly, and I'm sure we'll go on to a bit more because I want to get Natalie and Sati on the conversation as well. Just in terms of and I'll start with Natalie, just the rest of the season, do you think, obviously top four is pretty much out of the window, isn't it? I think we were pretty much in that kind of mindset anyway. What does Ranić do now? Does he just kind of throw everything to the wind and just go with the young players? What do you reckon?
Like everyone's saying, Hannibal was sort of the man in the match, really, if you look at it, and just through that effort and determination. And I know, he doesn't want to throw them all in all at the same time. You got to do it gradually. You don't want to sort of destroy them. But I think, that's what we're going to see more of. We're going to see more kids on the bench, more kids coming on, last 10 minutes, whatever. But it's better than, I don't want to see them sort of come on, start a game, lose, get really annoyed, lose their head, maybe get sent off. I don't want to sort of destroy all that in them. I do want them to come on bit by bit, maybe. But that's I think probably the best that we got to hope for this season. It's sad, but it's where we're at, and just what everyone's saying about it doesn't matter who comes in. I mean, we're talking about Thiago, Mane, Matip, all these players, but some of them we could have signed at United, and we're talking about structure and all that kind of stuff. It's just I don't know. It's mad because. Klopp came in, had what he wanted to do, knew where he wanted to go, whereas we just constantly change, and we're left in a position like this now. So but I just think the positive is going to be seeing the kids getting more and more chances. I
think we've got to take some positive out of this season. I mean, Sati, what do you reckon? Is that something? And we've still got some big games coming up, haven't we? The Arsenal, the Chelsea games.
Yeah,
So still want some pride in that. We can't just throw the kids into that, can we? Really, to be fair.
I think we touched on it just before the Norwich game, and we was discussing about introducing the youngsters and a few of the sort of younger players into the team, and you can't just chuck them in the deep end and expect them to swim, sort of thing. You have to sort of gradually let them get a bit of taste of it. Like Hannibal today got, I think, 7-8 minutes or maybe a bit longer. I can't recall. Just there's 6 games left to play at the end of the season. Now the season's a write-off. You just got to go out there and just express and just give us something as fans to believe in something in some of you going into next season. Because at the moment, the only 2 people that actually do believe in going into next season is probably Elanga and Sancho. They're the only ones that I can actually look at as bright sparks. I think to myself, do you know what? Next season, with a few different personnels around them, these 2 might be all right. The rest of them, we look at them. They look to us for encouragement, and then we're supporting game after game after game. Always Old Trafford sellout. Same in the weigh-ins. You can hear them singing to the end, but they're not taking that abundance on themselves, and they're not using that as motivation. They're actually almost sort of like sticking 2 fingers up to us and being like, "Oh, we don't really care." And I think we just need to get to the end of the season. There's 6 games left to play. We've got a big game on the weekend against Arsenal. Then we've got Chelsea next week. And I just think to myself, they just have they are winnable games. They have to be winnable games. You have to go into these games thinking, do you know what? We can actually go into this game and win this game. And that's what the difference is maybe between that against Liverpool and Manchester City. But we have to go into every game now almost like thinking to yourself, do you know what? Take off of the break and think to yourself, do you know what? Let's just go for it. Even at 2-0, like even tonight when second half, I was thinking to myself, I was watching it with my dad, and I said, look, if we go lose 4-5, yeah, as long as I know that second half that we put on a performance, we tried to create chances, and ultimately we did pay the price. But I think there was a key point I saw in that first half there, and I think touch on what Natalie just said there. Liverpool believe in Klopp's process. They believed in his vision. They bought into Jurgen Klopp, which was important. They lost 3 finals when he first came in, and but they still believed in him because they actually saw what he could produce. I remember they were beating Man City 4-1 away, but they still finished 7th, 6th in the league and stuff like that. They lost the Europa League final. They bought into his process, and the key thing about it is every single person, probably down to the kit man, even down to probably the ladies that work in the canteen or the men, they all sang from the same hymn sheet. They all believed in each other. They all made each other better people, better players, better cohesive unit. You look at United and you think to yourself, like you said, on the pitch, they probably didn't know what to do, whether anyone would even listen. If Bruno turned around or Maguire said, all right, let's switch it up, let's go compact, let's go to a 4-5-1, let's just hold, let's just keep tight. They got too much ego. They got too much. They think to themselves they're better than everybody else. I remember the game in lockdown and when there was no fans and Maguire was telling Rashford to hold his run and they're swearing at each other. And it was all caught on camera, him swearing at each other. I know it's a bit of laugh and joke, but you think to yourself, he don't even respect his captain. He don't even listen to his captain. So they're not going to take any... If they don't even listen to the captain, what chance have they got to listen to a manager? That's what the saddest thing about it is. And I just feel so dejected and just feel so disheartened, I think, just with the effort levels. That's what it is more than anything.
To be fair, Sati, I never listened to my skipper either. I was too busy concentrating on my own game. I couldn't be arsed with him. I was too busy concentrating on my own game.
I'm surprised you weren't the skipper, Stu, to be honest.
Do you know what? I was the skipper for my club. And that's what I think. And do you know what? Well, it's not about the players looked up to me, but it was almost, I had to almost be the manager on the pitch for them. That's how I looked at it.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. But to be fair, Sati, I was too busy giving out bulletins on my segment of the area. I was too busy. He could say what he wanted. I wasn't fucking listening to him. I was making sure that my little area was as tight as it possibly could be. And I was a bit of a funny player. Yeah. If I missed the first header of the game, against the attack, if I didn't climb high enough or whatever reason, I'd be like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have one.
I think it's a good point that, but I think I saw it today. If you noticed as well, like there was a moment in the second half where Liverpool dropped off that first 10, and Van Dijk wasn't playing well, and no. I think Robertson screamed at him. And that's Robertson screaming at Van Dijk, and Henderson's there. You don't need your captain to motivate the rest of the team. The rest, all the team should be at the same sort of level.
It's because they believe in each other. It's like you said with Thiago. They know his capabilities. So they know if they win the ball back, Henderson and Fabinho, let them do the dirty work, give it to Thiago, and he'll find you. They all sing from the same hymn sheet. They know how each other works. Like you said, that point about Van Dijk. Klopp gave him a big bollocking, and he nodded his head and thought, I better start waking up. And that's what it is. They're just with United, like I say, it's just clueless. It's just clueless. And we just need to just get to the end of the season as quick as possible.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, obviously we've got 45 minutes in, guys. I'm sure you all want to, we're all pissed off and probably want to see tonight out. So we'll have sort of a final roundup from everybody. But sort of Stu, kind of obviously some big games coming up. The Arsenal game next, and Chelsea. Brentford aren't exactly pushovers if they turn up. They beat Chelsea not so long back, so it's not really a nice kind of end to the season, is it? Well, no game's an easy game, is it, for United at this moment in time? But what do we do from now till the end of the season? Do you think we just kind of mix it up, or what's your kind of thoughts now from now to the end of the season?
There's not a great deal actually we can do. If we're dealing with realism, there's not a huge amount you can do to change. the mindset, what's already going on, in the game. If you as a professional footballer, and I've said this till I'm blue in the face, and Carl, I'll have a bit of a grin on this. As soon as you cross that white line, if you can't play to the best of your ability and affect the game to the best of your ability and affect the players to the best of your ability, you shouldn't be pulling on the fucking shirt of a Sunday League team, let alone an elite Premier League team. And this is the problem that we've got at the moment. None of our players can actually go in there and affect a game. They've got no idea how to affect a game of football. And I'm staggered by that. I'm absolutely staggered that these players can't find it within themselves to put a bit of fight, when they're playing. I play on a Wednesday and a Thursday and a weekend, and I can't wait to get there. The day can't go quick enough for me to pull on my kit and go and play in a 7-a-side league and with a bunch of eights. And I'm a terrible loser, and I'm a terrible winner. I'm a fucking awful winner. And these guys, they're not winners. They're not, if Liverpool, I think somebody mentioned it today, they were whinging they didn't score 5 goals. That's how it should be. We only scored 4. Why didn't we score 5? That's how it should be. Why did you miss that 2-yard fucking empty goal? What's going on? Why did you get the pace from there? Fucking hell, come on. This is the type of players you need. And when you take that white, you cross the white line, and you're looking across, and I'm looking at Cal, I'm looking at Sati, Nat, you, Reese, Mr. Ton, I'm thinking, you guys are with me. Because if you're not with me, what's the fucking point? What's the point of being here? And this is the problem that we've got. So, look, there's nothing we can do. There isn't a great deal we can do. There is no magic star just that's going to make us win 6 games between now and the end of the season. And if I was Arsenal, as bad as they're playing, I'd be kind of rubbing my hands together. So would Chelsea. So would Brentford. I mean, Brentford has started to put a run together. Jarvis was saying, should we put the kids in? Do you play Medjbury and that? A week ago, I said no, as you well know, Reese, because we had the same conversation. But why not? Why not? If he's going to come in and start putting it about, showing no respect to senior pros for the opposition, why not? So I'm afraid to say there's not a great deal we can do. We need to get the season done and dusted as soon as we possibly can, and and take it from there. So that's my closing thoughts, guys.
Cheers, mate. Go on, Cal. Have you? You've got 5 or 10 minutes there to close it out.
I think it's all kind of being said. I think Sati kind of summed it up absolutely perfectly before, though, and Stu kind of echoed it then. The shirt's too heavy. Don't put it on. And ultimately, at this stage, it's very obvious that it is way too heavy for way too many of them. I said on a show last week, why would you bring the kids in for this? But at this stage, there's that many that shouldn't be on the first team. That is probably only the kids that you can put in, because at least you'd have no. I mean, I have no expectations for the first team anymore anyway at this stage. But you'd at least with the kids, you'd know you'd have 11 players who would show a bit of fight for the shirt, and you wouldn't have the expectation for them to do anything. We say it every week, top four's gone, and then the rest of the top 4 go and lose. I think the next 2 games, do we play Arsenal first? We do, don't we?
Arsenal Saturday, yeah.
I think whoever wins that gets top 4.
So do I. Yeah, so do I.
Because as much as Tottenham are currently probably the favourites, Tottenham in it, you just never know how they're going to do. So, ultimately, I still think Arsenal will probably get it. I don't actually think any of them deserve it. Honestly, just send 3 teams to the Champions League next year, because it's just so disheartening speaking about this club at this point. Me and Stu have got a show starting soon, and honestly, I don't really know what we're going to talk about at this stage other than just shouting about how awful these players are that represent this football club. And it's just rubbish, to be honest. Do you know what? One point I would make, and Nat will probably back me up on this one, is a few weeks ago when the women played at Old Trafford, it was very strange because I'll admit I've not followed the women's team much, but that day it felt weird knowing that there was a team who ran for every ball and tackles and just looked like they actually wanted to be there. And it's a shame that the men's team, who earn 10, 20 times more than they do, can't do the same. It's quite, it's very I think it's like when your mum and dad shout at you, we're not angry, we're just disappointed. It's gone past anger and upset now. It's just complete and utter disappointment. A group of players who we had so much hope for at the start of this season. And I think ultimately, as fans, we probably should have not had it, because we should have expected that these group of players who have thrown 3-4 managers under the bus do the same again. And at this stage, they'll probably do the same to Ten Hag. They'll do the same to the next manager. And the best thing to end it on is get these owners out and rip it up again, because this is what our fourth rebuild now. We need another one. We need new owners and new managers coming in again. If I perform like they did at my job, I'd be sacked. I'll leave it with that one.
No, wait one second. Just before we go, I just want to say, because I just see some quotes. Apparently, Ralph is saying it wasn't his plan to press high up the pitch. So that's the players doing stupid things on the pitch.
I was going to come to you, Mr. Ton, anyway, so you can have... I didn't mean Callum was wrapping up. I just mean Callum was wrapping up for his... But so you'll go ahead, mate. You have your...
Yeah, I'm just seeing the quotes now, but he said that wasn't the plan to press that high up the pitch, and he don't understand. Like what Stu said, the players on the pitch. The players on the pitch, have some common sense. You're playing against Liverpool here. Do you know what I mean? Months ago on Twitter Spaces, I've said to the fan base, try and manage your expectations for the rest of this season, because whether you like it or not, a lot of these players are not good enough. And if your favourite player leaves in the summer, right, it's Manchester United Football Club, not Player FC at the end of the day, right? So, this is what happens, isn't it? When you have underperforming, underachieving players, and they're entitled, because I saw Harry Maguire's thing before the game, and one thing he lacks just himself in these interviews is accountability, right? Declan Rice, he's 22, 23? The amount of accountability that guy talks when he speaks about anything, a loss, a defeat, a mistake he makes in a game and comes out and owns it, is for his age, bruv, I don't understand. A 9-year-old can't do that for his team? I don't know. I really don't even know what to say anymore about this club. Really, you know what? If anyone saw the interview, Ralph's interview, he said it. He said we need a revolution, or we need more than 4 or 5 players. We need more than, and it's true. We need more than that. If you want a Ten Hag to come and play his style of football, he's brown. You've got to back his philosophy and his ethos. His ideology, you have to get behind it, because with managers like that, it's not just about, oh, this player can do that. No, it's deeper than that. It's actually deeper than the way they play. Like Chavez said, you have to change the philosophy from players who are treating the football like a bomb and treat it like a treasure. Like you don't even have players that can do basic things on the pitch, and that's the problem. The fundamentals are key, and a lot of our players don't have that. They don't have the fundamentals. But that comes down, and Ralph alluded to it, is recruitment. Recruitment. Now that's a deeper issue in regards to the club. That's recruitment. Now I don't want to go into that, but yeah,
it's tough, mate. And I think you're right about the philosophy. It doesn't just come overnight, does it? It was never going to happen. I think we all kind of knew that when Ranić came in, that we didn't really have much hope that it was just going to change from Ollie's counter-attacking style to suddenly Ranić's pressing style. It just wasn't going to change. It wasn't going to happen. And
there's one positive from tonight, though, Reece. A positive. Graham Souness has shown himself to be a complete fool again. He's just come out after the game and said, I can't be too critical of the Glazers. They funded a lot at Man United. He can't be too critical of them. Why is he poking his nose in something he knows absolute sweet F8 about? Well, there you
Yeah,
go.
it's just there's little mind games in the back behind the studio. I mean, Carragher and Neville having sly digs at each other during the game, and that's the horrible thing, really. I think just seeing that kind of play out, because there's a lot of kind of
Do you know
throwing.
what grated me more than anything? Watching Dalglish smiling and laughing. God.
Yeah, and then watching, it's horrible. I mean, Natalie, just to come on to you, your kind of roundup of all that, the rest of the season, a little bit into next season, Ten Hag, what's he got, what he's kind of got ahead of him, I suppose, kind of your roundup of all that tonight and everything else.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people always say to me, get rid of all this and I'd only keep 5 players, but, would they, we're talking about recruitment just then, are they going to, do enough recruitment that they're going to give, him enough to go and buy 15, 20 players? Probably not. So a lot are leaving, over 10, 12, however many, but a lot will be staying. There's probably a lot there that are on, well, we know big money, long contracts. We can't get rid of them. And I think, Ten Hag is going to have to change a lot of that. I think we need to just sort of, we seen when Pep, even Klopp came in, they were, even to an extent, Arteta, if you don't want to keep someone, get rid. And I feel like that's been a lot of our problem. There's been players there across 4 managers. And if that player doesn't suit that manager's, style, get rid. If you have to take less money, doesn't matter, get rid. I just think that's been our issue. Oh, they're not, no one's going to take them on what we want to sell them on. Well, tough, just take in a way, then you're leaving yourself open. Jesse Lingard, we know we could have sold him. Now he's going for free. So I think a lot of it needs to change in terms of that aspect as well, not just players coming in. Obviously, we know players are going to come in, but in terms of sort of the players that he probably is going to look at and think, I don't want you. You need to back him in that respect as well. I think the fact that a lot of players are leaving, it's probably going to be good for Ten Hag, because it's like a blank slate, it's a clean slate. He's not having to work with players that, don't want to be there. And, that, it's a fresh start. He's going to probably get a bit of backing, but, we know a lot of our issues stem. We said it on this show. And it's just, I suppose, making him putting in belief into the players and all that kind of stuff. They shouldn't really need it. They should give it no matter what, but this is where we're at. I feel like a lot of them are just have no confidence, even if they do care, they just feel like they're just shattered, they just don't know how to show it anymore, maybe. And I feel like we need, I don't know what we're going to need, but fresh start is definitely good. Go on.
I think the scary thing is, as you've said there, Nat, is that we've obviously got quite a lot of players leaving before we try and bring players in. And I think we've got to take some hope out of the rest of the season by looking at what we've got currently already there and giving players a chance. And that's kind of my thoughts with the youth. And obviously we've got a lot of players coming back from loan as well. But, Sati, what's your roundup? What's your thoughts? What do we do? Obviously there's nothing much to take from that game, obviously, and for most of the season. But do we do something drastic towards the end of the season and use? What's your kind of roundup, I suppose, mate?
I think the players need a reality check and understand that they're very close of losing the fans. And when you lose the fans, there's nothing for you else to play for at this club. Because we will stand by every single player as we have done before, stand by every single manager as we've done before. But as soon as you turn your back on the fans by the lack of effort and the lack of desire and stuff like that, you're gonna lose them. And I was just thinking to myself earlier, a few of my pals messaging me saying, "What's the score?" These are diehard Manchester United fans that I've grew up with. They text, "You're not watching it?" "No, I'm out." That just shows you where we are at the moment as a club. A massive game against Liverpool, and the priorities of watching something else is bigger than watching Manchester United at the moment.
And that stadium today, mate, was absolutely beaming. I've been at a few games this season, the Palace game, the Wolves game, and he was beaming today, wasn't it? That atmosphere,
yeah. and that's what it is. And I think the sad reality of it is that I think it's 6 games or 5 games left now. to the end of the season. The saddest thing is that we almost have to look envious towards City and Liverpool competing for the league, the Champions League. Then Liverpool got the FA Cup final. So everyone around us is doing the right things while we're still strolling along. This summer,
quadruple, sorry.
Possible quadruple. So this summer,
a very probable quadruple at this stage.
The thing I've said this when before the Man City and Liverpool game. City look beatable, Liverpool don't, and that's what the scariest thing is. They always seem to find a way to get a result, and that is what's scary about this possible quadruple. I think we just need to just get to the end of the season, rip it all up. A whole cultural reset needs to be done. A whole structure needs to be done. And we just need to just get rid. If we lose 10, 12 players, I don't think it's likely because I think it's quite impossible to do it over just one transfer window. But if we can get a good bulk of 6 to 7 players that don't want to be here for the club, yeah, because I've always said you play for the name at the front and we'll remember the one at the back. But that's long gone at the moment. So with all due respect, I think all they have to do for the next 5 games is give their all for us, and I think that's the only appreciation we could take.
No, well, I appreciate that, Sati. I think that's kind of rounds off the hour really nicely anyway. And look, guys, it's been rubbish. It's been terrible, and I was kind of, I'll be honest, it's my second time doing this, and I was dreading doing this one. But thankfully, you've all been brilliant, and the comments and everybody watching as well have been fantastic. Added some comments into it, so I know we're all pissed off, but we've got to take some positives out of this in terms of the youth that's coming through, and obviously Ten Hag coming on board as well. So hopefully there is some positives at the end of this season. Top four's, I suppose, as Callum said, maybe possibly up in the air and still something to fight for, but
these players can fight for nothing.
Yeah, that's the thing. So we've got to. Today was tough, but I obviously appreciate everybody's comments, and again, everyone that's watched, appreciate that as well. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you have been watching. And we'll just catch you in the next one, guys. Appreciate everybody's feedback. So appreciate that, guys. Thank you very much.